Hey guys, it's John C. Morley here, and it is great. I mean, great to be with you guys. Today, it's the last day of January. That's January 31st, 2024. Do want to thank you for being here. I do want to give a special thank you to everyone that's helping me achieve more of our milestones. It means a lot to me that we're able to do this, guys. It means quite a bit to me. So thank you so much. We're almost over 150,000 downloads. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you. I mean, thank you from the bottom of my heart because we could not do all this without you guys. Whether you're here at 10:40 at night, 10:40 in the morning, 3 a.m., 3 p.m., or maybe even just a 1 a.m. or 1 p.m. Thank you so much for being here on Inspirations for Your Life. And we have an amazing show to talk to you guys about tonight. That show, ladies and gentlemen, in case you're wondering, the master topic would start on Saturday this past week, and it is how to build trust. We're in series 3, which means we are in our third year, ladies and gentlemen. Can you believe that we're in our third year? I cannot believe that we're in our third year. That just like our third series. That literally just blows me out of the water. So again, thank you so much for being here. Really do appreciate that. Definitely scan the QR code. Go to believemeachieve.com. Go to TikTok. And why not follow me? Because we're trying to get over 1,000 followers so I can stream live to TikTok as well. All right, guys. So again, thank you so very, very much. I really do appreciate it. And let's get on to what tonight's topic is about, all right? That's the art of trust and leadership. Series 3, Show 5, episode number 4, everyone. Episode number 4. And you might be saying to me, hey, John, how is all this possible? Like, how does this work? And how do we make these differences in our lives? And I think it's not really about the differences. I think the biggest thing that it's about is the fact that people, they want to build trust, but they get stuck. And the reason they get stuck is they don't know like what they should be doing next. I think that's probably one of the biggest things. They just don't know how to figure out what's next. Like, what do we do next? Do we do anything? Do we not do anything? Like, what's really the key? And I think for a lot of people, it comes down to this. It comes down to something that's really cool, and that is reflecting on your behavior. Now, we're not perfect. Like, none of us are perfect, right? But if we reflect on our behavior, then I find that we're going to be able to do a lot. You're discovering the power of our self-awareness, okay? And so that's just being mindful. And you can reflect on the good, the things you want to change. The good thing is the stuff that you don't like, don't lose sleep over it. Just focus on it and change it. That's all you have to do. And you can start building really key, crucial steps in cementing trust with someone you hope really soon. But thinking about trust, if I said to you, I want to think about trust in a very unique way, you probably would say to me, John, trust is not hard. No, you're correct. It's not hard. I just think some people get on the wrong path. And, they start blaming people, right? And nobody should be blaming anybody, if you ask me. Nobody should be blaming anybody. So how do you handle that? So reflecting is just kind of seeing who you are and what you're doing, how you're responding to the world. That's what reflecting is all about, ladies and gentlemen. It's about that. And if we can understand that it's about that, then maybe we'll choose to be able to analyze it differently, right? Maybe. But it doesn't happen overnight. First, you have to become aware of why you're doing something or why you're not doing something. And when you start to appreciate that, then it's like, oh my gosh, it's like, wow. It's like, I think a lot of people like I said, they get stuck. They get stuck. And so it's like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do now? Like, I have no clue what I'm going to do. And so just taking a moment to just chill, literally, and reflect. Taking a moment to chill and, like I said, reflect. All right. All right. That's a real important one, to reflect on your behavior. Number 2, speak kindly to yourself. So studies have shown that we're actually kind to ourselves, more good things happen to us. And by that premise, we not only feel good, other people see us as being good too, right? And so that's not a hard thing to understand. Yourself likes it when you talk to yourself in a good manner. It really does. So if we can understand that talking is basically the philosophy, is the real way to understand, then I think it makes sense. All right. I think it absolutely makes sense. And so thinking right now about speaking kindly to yourself. So let me ask you a dumb question, ladies and gentlemen. How do you speak kindly to yourself? Well, that's a loaded question. Um, Speaking to ourselves kindly is not hard. Maybe we didn't do something right, and it's like we hang this big failure sign over our head. And see, that's not being kind. That's being harsh. We need to be aware of the self-talk. Write down what you're saying. Catch yourself. Oh, I look this, I'm that. A while back, we had a show about, stop living the I'm not life. We had a show about that, ladies and gentlemen. And I think once you can appreciate that, then you'll say, you know what? I really do need to talk to myself in a more kind way. And you'll break those thought patterns. Avoid negativity on social media, of course. But place kind thoughts in your mind, share them with others, and when you give a compliment, do it from the heart. Does that make sense, everyone? Do it from the heart. And if we do it from the heart, then I think there's lots of changes that can actually, that can result. But again, I don't want to tell you that it's going to happen tomorrow, because it's not going to happen tomorrow. You need to be focused on the fact that you've got to treat your body better. You've got to treat your body better. That's it. Now, that's not a hard thing to do, ladies and gentlemen. But why is it people don't do it? I think they don't do it because, for whatever reason, they're expecting more out of themselves. They're expecting more out of themselves. And if we know this from the get-go, then I think it makes life easier for everyone, not just, one person. And people love to be around others that have a positive energy. They love it. And so if we could be more positive in our life, then I feel that there's so much we could do. But, ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't start at the finish line. We have to start at the starting line. We have to start at first making the decision to do something, right? So everyone I know wants to build trust in 24 hours. Oh my gosh, I got to build these relationships, I got to build trust. That's not how it works. It's not how it works. When you were younger and you were trying to build a friendship, what's the first thing you probably did when you're trying to build that friendship? Well, the first thing I tell you probably did is you probably said to yourself, okay, and you didn't know this, but you were just doing it psychologically. I want to find somebody that's like me. I want to find someone where I can fit in. I want to find somebody I can talk to. I want to find somebody I can play with, right? And then you know what happened? After a couple days, maybe you played with somebody. I remember this kid that I play with. I remember his first name. His first name was just John Paul, and I'm not going to say his last name, but John Paul something. And so he was an amazing person. I became friends with him. I fell out of friendship with him, but I went to was before kindergarten, pre-K with him, and he was just really full of life. And then we just kind of like disconnected. But I think when the connections sometimes are too young, we don't appreciate the value in them, and we don't really think that they're going to be around for later. So when I built that friendship with him, oh, granted, it was just through, uh, preschool. It was fun, right? And you might be saying to me, well, John, well, what did you learn? Well, so preschool is ages 3 to 5, in case you know. So it's 3, 4, and 5. That's usually when parents put their kids in preschool. And I learned that, I would play a little bit. We'd play a little bit. We would talk. Maybe I'd go over his house. He'd come over to my house after a little while. But this didn't happen right away. We just started hanging out and just playing with our blocks and stuff. And then, after we played with our blocks a few times, like, let's sit together for lunch, or snack time. Let's what do you have for snack? What do I have for snack? And we're trying to build that commonality, which was already there. And then the friendship started. So the commonality was there, and then the friendship, like, oh yeah, I want to be on John's team. I want to be on John Paul's team. Like that whole friendship started. And people like looking at us are like, they're like in their own world. Like they don't say that, but you could tell that we were like in our own language. And you can do that with lots of people. Speak kindly to yourself, but you have to do one last thing. You know what that is, ladies and gentlemen? You gotta take your time. We're in a rush to go. Embrace the importance of patience. It's a journey of building trust. And although I know you want trust right away, I know you want that. But history has taught us, and science has proven this, that when we rush into a friendship, we rush into trust, they usually feel, and we feel it too, that the person wants something, that they're not doing it for a genuine reason. They're doing it because they feel it would be, behoove us to be friends. And we think that they're out for something, like, they're out for our money, are they out for our skills? In preschool, they obviously weren't out for our money, but are we out for skills? And I just remember the fact of just having that kind of friendship with him. And then, hanging out and going over to his house to play and coming to my house to play. And it was fun. But what a lot of people do, especially when they get past, I'm going to say, past grammar school. High school is a great place. But I remember many times, ladies and gentlemen, that it was stressful as you know what. Like, it was like, oh my gosh, I know I've got physics or I've got chemistry, but does Chris like me? Does Sarah like me? Does Brian like me? And this might sound crazy that I cared about it, but friendship was something that was out there, and I wanted it in here. And so I always wanted to rush it. And the more you rushed it, the more you messed it up. And then you'd get a chance to do it again. But then the minute you got that zealous foot to rush, the person would go running, or they would lose trust in you. They were just starting to believe in you. And then you had to muck it up by saying, oh, or this, or you did something that just didn't make them feel comfortable. So is building trust hard? It's not hard, but it's something we need to do from the heart. The heart. And so when we do it from the heart, other people can tell that we are genuine, that we are authentic. I was talking with a person today on a Zoom call. It was an introduction He wanted to get to know me, what I was doing in my business, and probably wanted to sell me some things. In fact, normally in the call, I say what I do, they say what he does, and he didn't really go into too much what he does. So he wants to have a call with me to go through a presentation. But the thing is, I did that to be kind, but I don't know if I'm really ready for that. Sometimes you have to kind of pull back, and say, wait a minute, maybe this isn't a good connection. Because the fact that we were on a half hour and then the fact that he wanted to go into a whole hour call, I don't know. It just hit me in a way that he was going to try to hit me, like pitch me. And see, that's a problem. I was talking to somebody the other night. Another tech person is like, oh, I went to the startup. Actually, I guess it's going to be on my show very soon. And we're talking about the fact that the event was good, but a lot of people were trying to pitch. We're not in baseball. Okay. We're not in softball. We are trying to be in a dynamic world, learn about others, have them learn about us, but not have the agenda that we really want them to do something immediately. I was talking to somebody today, and the person was very kind. He called me a genius, and I'm always very humble. And I'm like, well, that's very kind of you. And the lady said to me, John, some people do not have the capacity to be where you want them to be. And I was telling a story about this doctor in town. This doctor in town that I was going to see, not for a reason for business, but because I wanted him to join this not-for-profit that I run, a 501c3. So I remember going to the office a while back, and they don't get back to me. Well, finally, I decide to pick up the phone and call them. They still don't get back to me. And I left them a note. And I said, what is this? I said, how do I get through to you people? I leave a message and it's like it doesn't go anywhere. What do I have to do? An emergency just to get somebody to call me back? And I got the doctor's wife to have the office manager call me back. And she was all right, but she apologized to me, obviously, because I had gone through the wife and all that, but she apologized, but I could tell she was phony. So then I had a conversation. It was a week or two later. They said, oh, we're going to schedule an appointment with you to meet the doctor, so this will be wonderful. So it was a couple weeks before Christmas. And I remember coming in. My appointment was for 5 o'clock, and I came in, I think it was at, 4:45. Oh, John, you're early. Please sit down in our kitchen and have a sandwich, have some cake, and some maybe hot tea or coffee or whatever. And the doctor will be in just a few minutes for 5 o'clock. So 5 o'clock comes. She says, oh, John, just want to let you know he is running a little behind. But he should be out probably like by 5:15. 5:15 comes. John, I'm so sorry. He's still kind of tied up with this patient longer than we expected. He should probably be done by 5:30. So 5:30, 5:45 rolls around. And she's like, he'll be out any minute. Okay. We're now at 6. Apologizing, telling me to have more food, yada, yada. 6:15. I suddenly get told by, not the doctor, but by his either administrative assistant or I think it was just an MA, a medical assistant. Now, these people that know me from Adam. And they said, oh, John, I'm so sorry. I said, no, I know. You guys told me he's running behind. It's cool. No, you didn't get the message then. What message? Well, I'm so sorry. The doctor had an emergency, and he's not going to be able to meet with you. He had to go right to the hospital. And I said to myself, okay, well, emergencies happen, right? Things like that happen. I said, well, what are we going to do? Oh, well, don't worry. He'll call you back and reschedule. He never called me back to reschedule. First of all, I should tell you that night, he really wasn't going to an emergency. The emergency was taking his family out to dinner, which I found was a little bit rude because all I wanted him was for 5 or 10 minutes, and he couldn't give me that time. I caught him at a car show locally in our town, and he's bragging all about his cars, and I'm asking questions about it because, again, I want to be genuinely interested into what he's doing and really wanted to learn about it and build a friendship. Well, he told me about his car. His brother told me about his car, and they bragged. Okay, I just kind of took it in. And then I said to him, I said, Doc, I said, I said, every time I try to reach you, I never can. And you sponsor all these things all over the town, but you're never there. I said, you know the difference between me and you? I said, you have a lot of offices, okay? And you tell people you're going to do something, you don't do it. Maybe you get somebody to do it, maybe you don't. You see, Doc, I'm about integrity. And so when I refer business to people, I know you have so much business you don't care about, but I'm about integrity from the core. And I was telling the story to somebody today, and the person said, oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. I didn't even name the person. I just gave like an initial. She said, I know exactly who you mean, and that person's not generous. And I said to myself, why? John, some people don't have that mental capacity. Some people can't do it. Maybe there's a medical situation in the family, and that family member can't be strong enough to be there for that other member. I said, well, that's just terrible. Like that's just a given. Like it's not just expected that I show up. It's my duty. I want to show up. I know, John, you're one of a kind. And I said, I'm all about integrity. And she said to me, he's not. I said, I hear so many good things about him and how he does all his surgeries. Yes. He's got this eggshell you're looking at. But inside the eggshell is something he never shows. I said, well, I saw it when I was at the car show. Yeah, he was his genuine self there. I said, well, that's just terrible. She said, John, people do this every day in life, whether it's landlords, whether it's owners of corporations, businesses, lawyers, political candidates. They act this way because they feel like they're entitled. There was a person today I was meeting for I always do a pre-vetting before I do my my cast with them. So I was meeting somebody that was probably going to interview in about 4 months. Well, the person that I was supposed to meet didn't even show up, didn't even tell me they're not showing up. I got a message this evening saying, oh, yeah, I got tied up in things. So I'm like, all right, schedule another appointment with me. But I said, I do want to let you know that if you book another appointment with me and you don't show up, I'm out and I'm not interested in interviewing you if that happens. And they got nasty. It's like you're entitled when you really aren't, and you're using that as an excuse to tell me why you can't meet me. Don't meet me. Or reschedule the appointment as much as you want 24 hours before. I let people do that, for the pre-vet. But don't act like something you're not. And what this lady told me today was very interesting. The fact that people are not capable of rising to every occasion that you may be able to. I said, that just is terrible. She said, John, she says, unfortunately, that's how a lot of people are. You're only in the top 2 to 10% of the people in the world. People aren't generous. People aren't caring. People aren't compassionate. People aren't empathetic. People are all into themselves. I said, that's terrible. I said, that's life. So you have to figure out who these people are, and you have to distance yourself from these people. Okay, we've all seen the guy, on the highway, and you're in the car, and he's right there, and suddenly there's a light goes green, and he guns it to go past you at 100 some miles an hour. And he does it because he can and because he wants to have that ego. We talked about ego in the past. Ego gets us into trouble. Ladies and gentlemen, I am John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. Of course, you guys know who I am by now. But if for some strange reason you don't know who I am, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? I'm going to tell you who I am. I'm John C. Morley. I'm a serial entrepreneur, and I'm a podcast host, and I'm a podcast coach. And I'm a specialist in helping businesses tell a story that leads to them growing and being more scalable and, of course, more profitable. Now, I typically do work with companies that bring in 10 million or more, and I just love to help people find the truth of what they have at the core, their business, and get people curious. Either know your truth or hire me to find the truth. But don't ask me to write or create a story about something that's not truthful, because once I find out that it's not the truth, I'm not going to want to work with you anymore. And I'm not going to get your story out there. Have yourself a fantastic rest of your night, everyone. And I'll catch you guys, you know when? Tomorrow. Have yourself a great rest of your night. And tomorrow will be Happy February. Take care, everyone, and be well.